So we'll kick off the Board of Health meeting for the 7th of May. First thing on our agenda is the approval of minutes from April 16th. Anybody had any comments or questions on the meeting minutes from that? Looks like we have Mona, Brenda, and myself. So yeah, we have enough that we can actually vote on that too. So any comments, questions?
I didn't find anything.
Yeah, like all the comments about the unusual event for the variance for the pool, which is great.
Yeah.
Certainly makes sense.
Okay.
Cool. All right, then, if there's no comments or questions, I'll entertain a vote. Or entertain a motion, sorry.
I'll make a motion in regards to the minutes from the April 16, 2024 Board of Health meeting. The Board of Health approves the minute as is.
Very good. Motion's been made. Do we hear a second?
I'll second it.
And has been seconded. Any further comment? Then we will vote. I'll start with Brenda.
Aye.
And we have Mona.
Aye.
And I also. That's it, right? The three of us voting members. Okay, great. 3-0-0. Minutes are accepted. Next on our agenda is the animal permit for 6 Moose Hill Road. Do we have a little bit of a background? Have the animal inspector have been on site and some of those details?
Yeah, definitely. I don't see the applicant on the call, so let me share my screen. So she's asking for 12 chickens. They're gonna do composting in their garden. And then here is a look at the coop they're building. They did have the animal inspector go out. No issues there, all meeting the requirements, as well as we did receive all of the abutter notifications as well within the appropriate time frame.
Okay. And has the coop been assembled and built and all that already?
So the only thing the animal inspector said is it was only half built by the time when they went out, but everything looked good so far.
Okay.
They're just still in the process of making it. So she did note that as long as it's just built per what it's one of those like you just have to assemble it, but you kind of buy it like the pre-made pieces. So as long as it's assembled per the manual, it should be fine.
Okay. I know we've had a couple of questions about permits and animal permits, and is there anything? I know the one we had before was around having the inspector come out once it's finalized and built, and the chickens have been received, chicks have been received and starting to go in their new home. Do we have any need for that type of approach for something like this, or is the inspector seemed confident that as it was designed and the locations all seemed adequate?
Yeah, the inspector seemed really positive about where it was, the location. We haven't received any negative abutter notifications here in the health department. So everything seems like the way it is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I
All
have
right.
one question.
Please, Brenda.
I'm just curious, how many chickens are you allowed to have?
So there's not really like a maximum limit. It's kind of if our permits are based on like 1 to 6, you pay a certain price, and then 6 to 12.
Okay.
It's more of making sure that the number of chickens you have, of course, isn't going to be like a nuisance, right? And the amount of
Right.
space you have is adequate for the number of chickens you have.
And someone lives on that property, right? It's the Union Congregational Church.
For what?
It's the owner is the church.
I believe it's a single family house.
The church owns the property, but she rents it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just received
Okay.
confirmation from
Okay.
Jen. The
No, I
church
just
owns
wanted
the
to make
property, but
sure.
she rents it. But it is like
Okay.
her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good question. Yeah, I was curious about that myself. That makes sense. So the individual there, okay. And I guess leasing, renting the property, again, not owning, no issues to that. You can rent and still have a permit on a property for that type of, for animals.
Yeah, we didn't receive any notification from the church that there was any issues. Yeah.
Okay. I guess if the tenant does move on, then the new tenants have themselves built-in pets, or
Yeah.
the church takes over, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody on the board, or any member that's on the call, or anybody that's on the call?
So once the coop is fully constructed, the animal inspector will go back and re-inspect the area, right, Megan?
So she does like an annual inspection. So she was pretty confident of where like the placement it is, the coop, because she takes a look at what's built already. But then the animal permit would be subject to the normal, annual inspection like all of our permits are.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the question we had on the prior one, it hadn't even begun construction. I think they were still building the house, so that was one of the questions we had. The area looks good, the idea looks good, but until things are actually somewhat built, or at least it's laid out, that was kind of what we were concerned about. But this seems like they have most of it already laid out and set up. So
Okay.
perfect. Anybody want to make a motion regarding the applicant for the 6 Moose Hill Road?
I'll try it. I motion to allow the permit for 6 Moose Hill Road, Walpole, Mass, for 12 chickens as per the inspection and the annual inspection.
Very good.
We
Yeah, the
can
motion.
change it if we have to.
Oh, we'll call that the granting of the permit. That's perfect. Beautiful. So motion's been made. Do we hear a second?
I'll second that.
And it has been seconded. Any other comments? Then we'll vote regarding the motion to approve the permit for 12 chickens at 6 Moose Hill Road. Brenda
Aye.
and Mona.
Aye.
And I also. So the
Rachel,
applicant.
it looks like Rachel's on as well,
I
sorry.
am on. Sorry, I was a
Oh,
little late.
sure.
Aye.
Sure. Okay. You got the whole discussion
I
around.
did. I
Perfect.
did.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. So then we'll consider that a 4-0-0. Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. All right. That is the second on our agenda. Third on our agenda is lifeguard variance for Home 2 Suites. I think we've seen these variant requests before.
Mhm.
Yep. So this is a repeat variance request. I'll share my screen here. So this is the Home 2 Suite. So they have a year-round pool. So what they do is they utilize a key card system to get into the pool, so it's locked at all times. The guests have to check in at the front desk to ensure that they're meeting the bather load capacity, as well as making sure that there are no children under the age of 16 swimming alone. And then to refresh everyone's memory, this is the variance that was granted last year. So they have their AED, they have to pass opening inspection, they have the signage already in place, as well as having staff on site that are first aid, AED, and CPR certified.
Any incidents from last season, Megan?
No incidents.
Great. Is there anybody on the line? I see a couple of other call-ins. Anybody on the line regarding this applicant that they want to introduce themselves and see if there's any comments? Nobody online for this? Okay. Any other questions from anybody on the call? Any board members?
Mm-mm.
Great. All right, then we'll entertain a motion if anybody has one.
I'll make a motion in regards to the Homes 2 Suites lifeguard variance. The Board of Health would like to grant the Home 2 Suites a variance from our regulation requiring a lifeguard, subject to the conditions that we already listed in last year's. So I'd like to reiterate all the conditions that we have mentioned at our May 9th, 2023 meeting. do I need to repeat those, or you'll just copy all that, Megan?
Yeah, you can just reiterate it is fine, and then we'll make sure it's all copied into this year's motion.
Okay, great. Because I don't see anything, unless we wanna, did we do that, the AED, right? It says, at least one AED be obtained and maintained in close proximity to the pool in the pool area. I don't see that it should be followed, following the manufacturer guidelines. So I'd like to add that one. Because I don't see it in last year's, motion, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
definitely something we can add to make it similar to the ones we've done so far this
Yeah.
season.
Perfect. That was actually gonna be my question too with the AED. It says shall be obtained. Has one been obtained and is it installed already? Do we happen
Yes,
to know?
yeah, they do have one.
Okay, then great.
Good.
So at least one AED to be maintained according to manufacturer's specifications and so forth in proximity. So that's great. Yeah, that's the only wording I think that's what we want to do, because I know we had given a couple of applicants some time to make sure they're installed and set up correctly. So great. Any other comments? No. Then we'll do a second. Who wants to second Mona's motion?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any other comments? And we'll vote on the motion. Start with Rachel.
Sorry.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Thank you. And Mona
Aye.
and Brenda.
Aye.
I also. So the variance granted with conditions 400. And that looks like that's all we had on our agenda. So now the important part. Definitely want to hear about that household hazardous
Yeah.
waste day. How'd it
It was
go?
definitely an event. It was good. It was great. We had over 200 cars come through. Weather was totally on our side. I feel like,
Yeah.
for lack of better words, and no pun intended, it's a well-oiled machine. We thank our volunteers greatly. We just have a good group of reoccurring volunteers. I feel like that just know their role. They just are eager to help out. We had a few extra bodies this year, which helped out with traffic control. Just making sure no accidents occurred and just kind of being a familiar face and a great greeter to those residents. So a lot of people came early, which I think they thought they'd be beating the line, but I think by default, that was when we had the biggest rush right upon kicking off the event. We started about 10 minutes early, and then I think it slowed down or maybe around like 10 or so, and then was pretty steady until about 12 o'clock. So it's definitely a great event. We'll hold it again next year, first Saturday in May. So it would be May 3rd of 2025. But for those that have not been able to attend our event this year, we do have a reciprocal agreement with about 8 other communities. So instead of attending our event, you would pay the $10 that you would pay to attend our event, but you're able to attend one of the other communities that's in our consortium. So it's a good program. If you are able to or not able to meet our date, you can kind of go to another one and still have that option to properly dispose of those hazardous materials you have. So
Melissa, how do we
Right.
find out? Like, do we pay Walpole the $10?
yeah, so one, if you're interested in getting one of those vouchers, the information is on the town website for what towns are providing those reciprocal agreements with Walpole. But you would come into the town, visit the health department, you pay $10 to the health department, and then we provide you with the voucher. We also give you the list of the communities and their dates of their events, and then also what they accept, because each community is a little bit different with their acceptable items list.
I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, perfect. We'll be here.
Great. Thank you very much. Good to hear. Anything else new? Any other discussions? Any other comments?
No, I think that's all. It was a relatively straightforward meeting. Our next meeting will be held remotely on May 21st.
Very good. Outstanding. Anything, we have anything pending so far on the 21st, or we think it's
No,
gonna get?
nothing yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to think, I think lifeguard variance is maybe one more. But other than that, we're done with those for the season and no
Okay.
plans ready to be reviewed. So, and no animal permits in queue that we're aware of, but possibly.
Okay. Great. Well, then we'll keep it on 21st, be remote, and in that we will actually poll the board to close the meeting. Make a motion to close the meeting. Do we hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And we'll vote. Brenda,
Aye.
Mona,
Aye.
Rachel,
Aye.
and I also. Did I just mute myself? No, I didn't. Sorry. Got it. So we consider that meeting adjourned, 7:45. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank
Take care. Have
you.
a nice day.